They say your landed home is your greatest asset, but what if it could also be your greatest opportunity? I'm sarahxmiracle, landed realtor, mom of four, and content creator, and I make videos like these every single week to help you make values-based judgments on your real estate property portfolio. If you like videos like these, you want to stay ahead of the market, give us a like, a subscribe, and hit the notification button so that you'll stay notified every time we do a video, which is every single week. We also have home tours, so have a look at those as well. And before I get along, a lot of people are wondering, I have this huge asset on my hands and I know it's worth a lot, but is it really worthwhile the entire hassle to sell off the home and then move on to something different? How do I deal with that? This week, I'm going to be showing you how right sizing from a landed to a condo could potentially unlock a passive income stream of $200,000 a year, which would be a never-ending retirement income fund for you and your family to make sure that you are taken care of and you have an asset still in place for your family to be taken care of as well. This could also open doors to private banking and a lifestyle that you've been always dreaming of but never really could afford to have. Let's imagine you've lived for this home for over 20 or 30 years. Your children are already grown up. They're either already in university, they started working, or even more, they have families of their own already. And this house that used to be the place that they grew up in and used to host lots of gatherings has really dwindled to a very quiet, empty space. Sometimes they call it empty nest. Honestly, it's not going to be empty for long if you decide to release it for the next season for a family who's looking for it. Today, I'm not going to go into the details of why you might want to right size because I do have another video coming up about the potential draining cost of maintaining a landed home, not just physical or monetary, but also emotional and your well-being. That's going to be in my next video, so stay tuned for that. But today, I'm just going to share with you and break down if you could unlock a never-ending retirement fund, why don't we do that right now rather than sitting on an asset, waiting until we pass away, then realizing that we never lived the life that we were meant to live. So I'm going to give a very conservative example because most people have mid-sized landed homes that are maybe valued between $6 to $8 million. If you had a $6.5 million sale and you move into a fully paid, let's say $2.5 or $3 million condo, which could easily in the resale market get you something, a nice 2 to 3 bedder, because if just you and your partner, you could reinvest $4 million in index funds like the S&P and at an average annual return of 6%, that's $240,000 a year. Add on your CPF life and without any mortgage, you are absolutely set for life, which means that you have $240,000 a year. You have easily $10,000 per person to spend on your lifestyle needs. That means you could go traveling every other month. That means you could have nice dinners and lunches with your friends every month. That means you could buy nice presents for your grandchildren and your children. I'm not saying that be extravagant, but we've worked so hard. We've lived a hard and fruitful life. It is sometimes time for you to take fruit, to take that profit and to live life because life is so short. If you own an even larger detached or even bungalow home, semi-detached, let's say that's worth $10 million or more, you would have $5 million liquidity that you could easily use to open a private banking facility. And that could open even bigger doors for you to have your money put into investments that would not normally be available to most people with just a $2 or $3 million cash that they have to invest and also draw out from. For example, in private banking, you are able to qualify to be invested together with the institution in bond funds. Now, bond funds consist of 100 to 200 individual bonds. Therefore, the rate of default on each individual bond fund is only about 1% or less than that, because if one bond defaults, you still have 99 other bonds to cover that default. That means that it is very low risk and very ultra conservative. That will give you even higher potential gains for your money, which means that if you have $5 million at 3%, which is a conservative outlook, because you could even be getting as well 6 to 8%, but conservatively 3% on $5 million a year, you're still getting $150,000 worth passive income where you're sitting not doing anything at all. So let's say we have $10 million and we're comfortable with using $3 million to get a 3-bedroom, maybe in a not so prime district in the city fringe areas that will be of Singapore, and you may not even need to be buying freehold. You could just be buying a leasehold property that still has potential for en bloc, for example. Spring Grove would be a very good example of a really well located 99-year leasehold property that has really huge en bloc potential. So we can even look for buys like that, and then you would still have $7 million to play with. You could easily split that into 3 and 4, $3 million perhaps in your own investments on the S&P index funds, and you could also have $4 million with private banking so that you have someone professionally managing a portion of your portfolio. Combined, you could be looking at about $300,000 to $400,000 a year passively coming to you as your retirement fund, which will be in excess of what you need for your lifestyle, which means you'll still have left over for you to do things for your grandchildren, your children, assist them with their own housing, do things in life that you normally would not be able to do without unlocking the value of your landed home. Now I know your objection.
Wouldn't this house be more valuable when I die?
Let's say you're 60 years old. You might die any time from now until, let's say, you're 80 or 90. We don't know when we are going to leave this earth. And I know a lot of older folks, sometimes they have this thinking that,
No, I will never. I'll just live in this because this is my legacy.
but I have heard so many stories of children who actually want their parents to sell their landed homes. You know why? Because the landed homes are old, they're hard to renovate, they're difficult to maintain, they have stairs and no lift. And the quality of life that the parents are living in just pains them. But their parents think that they're doing them a favor by staying in a house and no one else is staying with 6 beds, 7 baths when the children are no longer there. In my next video, I'm going to be talking about what potentially could be draining you, not just financially, but on the emotional and well-being side by living in a landed home that is oversized for you and your family, or your lifestyle as just a couple with an empty nest with nobody else living in the house. So I hope you stay tuned for the next video, and I hope I just gave you a very short taste of what it could mean for you to unlock that cash gain in order for you to be able to move on in life. A lot of options right now in the 3 to 4 million range, even $2 to $3 million range, depending on the location that you're staying. Could be that even if you sold a $5 to $6 million landed home, the equivalent in your neighborhood would be a $2 to $3 million condo. You would still have $2 to $3 million to play with. Before I close, I want to share with you a real life story of my clients who sold our Jalan Jalita semi-detached. They are not even that old. They're only in their late 50s to early 60s. Their kids are not yet married or have kids. They don't have grandkids yet, but they're already thinking of their lifestyle. They're thinking, look, I'm sitting on an asset which we sold at $8.8 million, and this asset is going to be unlocking what is the future for myself and my children. Because when I buy my next condo at the $3 to $4 million mark, I'm going to be having $4 to $5 million to play with that will help my children with their education, their housing, and help me fund my never-ending retirement fund, which I was telling you about, because they do have professional private bankers. Their mindset to me was that, you know what, we've talked about it at length. It took us a year to come to a decision, but we realized that we can't just keep sitting on this house without living the life we want to live, because they love to travel, and also the house was too big for them to maintain alone, but they didn't want to have a helper because the kids were big, so they didn't want to have another outsider in the house. There are a lot of the considerations to think about. Whether do you want to continue to have a helper when your kids are there, and do you want to have stairs, so many things. And they were like, we don't want to be moving out when we're old. We want to be able to enjoy life while we're at it, have this fun come to us passively, so we don't have to be worried about work anymore and we get to enjoy life. And I'm so happy for my sellers because they had this really positive mindset about their sale, and they were so happy to pass it on to the next buyer that had a great story, which you can also see why story is the key to selling landed in my other video, that really matched the need of the house. If you are just questioning yourself right now, you're not sure, there's no clarity because you don't know what your next steps are, please be assured, because I have walked through with other landed owners on this transition into the condominium space, letting go of a big landed home, which is oversized for just a couple, for them to have enough to have that never-ending retirement fund. If I can do the same for them, I can do the same for you. So give me a call. It's non-obligatory. I'll be really happy to sit down with you, work out the numbers, give you a referral to the right private bankers even, so that you can really live the life that you're meant to in your golden years. The best is yet to be. I'm sarahxmiracle. Till the next video, which will be about what might be draining you in your landed house. I hope you subscribe, give us a like, hit the notification button. See you soon.